least for you, that changed over time, and while you were working on things, you weren't necessarily absolutely 110% on it, but you were really, really involved and did everything you possibly could with it. Is that an accurate statement?
Pretty much, and I think one really important distinction here is that, and this is one of the laws of Simpleology. Well, there are two laws in Simpleology that deal with your focus. And in those times when I was doing those things, a tremendous amount of my focus was on being successful in one particular thing or another. Now, we had one of the problems with ESOP Marketing Corporation was that we became unfocused. We had way too many things going on. We had way too many subsidiaries. And eventually that's what, caused, that was one of the catalysts that caused me to shut everything down. It was way out of control. It was way too much of a mess. But in those times when I was extremely focused, that's when we experienced great success. For example, when I launched Mind Control Marketing, I said, I am going to make this book a #1 bestseller, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make that happen. And that was basically all I thought about for a while. Okay? So in that moment, I was extremely passionate and extremely focused. And at that micro level, that allowed me to do one of the things that I always wanted to do.
Gotcha. So there were definitely some obstacles that you ran into. I mean, from whether it was in your business or in what you were focusing on, or getting too spread too thin, or whatever is the case.
Yeah.
When you found yourself getting distracted, or when you found yourself, focusing on too many things at once to really hit in the way that you wanted to, and really accomplish the levels of success for any given project that you wanted to, how did you go about overcoming that? I mean, you obviously have achieved tremendous success in the past, and right now, currently, with your current Simpleology project. So when your mind is getting distracted and going in several different directions, what do you do to really bring that home?
Well, that's a great question. Well, right now, I'm doing something every morning that's had a tremendous effect on that, and it's part of Simpleology. It's called the Daily Target Praxis. And I start every day with this, and this allows me to revisit that. Is what I'm going to do today going to bring me closer to or further away from my target? I ask myself those questions every single morning. And if you don't do that, the natural tendency of the universe is decay. It's the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, okay? And this happens in our lives as well. We tend to, left unattended, we tend to decay. We tend to diffuse, okay? Our energy diffuses. So we have to get ourselves back on that track. Our conscious mind has to put us on that. Now, that's one thing. One other tactic is there's a phrase that you need to add to your vocabulary. It's, I changed my mind. I was just talking with someone about this the other day. Okay? It's really, really important, okay, because people will try to hijack your life because of implied or thought obligations. Okay? And hey, I'm the king of I changed my mind. Okay? I mean, I have changed my mind many times, and sometimes people will step up and will criticize me for that. And I suppose one thing that has allowed me to be successful despite that is that, you know what? I don't care. If I think I'm doing the right thing, if I know that I've got to change course to help more people and to help myself, and by the way, here's a great metaphor. If your plane is crashing, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to help one guy, and then you're going to die, and you're going to help no one else. Okay? So I had to make sure I put my own oxygen mask on first a lot of the time. Okay? Even though there's some people going, hey, man, you're leaving me. Well, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to help anybody else if I stop and help you out now and let my situation crumble, okay? It is okay to change your mind. I don't think that you should blow off obligations, okay? And obviously use this sparingly, but use it until you get your life to a point where it's manageable, okay? And one of the things I'll tell people is, if your life is unmanageable right now And a lot of these entrepreneurs, I see them, they've got 6 million JVs going with 5 of their buddies, and every single one of them are writing them, and none of them are going anywhere because their energy is all here and there. You know what? Cut it all loose, buddy. I'm telling you right now, because you are never going to see things clearly until you let it all go. Okay? Now, the next thing I would say is, one thing that has really helped me out, I've got a new book coming out next week, actually, through John Wiley & Sons. They're one of the big 3 New York publishing houses, and I've been lucky enough to get some contracts with them. I used to do all my publishing myself because, frankly, there's more money in that. But I went through Wiley this time because they're big, they're reputable, and they've got a lot of ends, a lot of people. Now, this book doesn't have anything to do on the surface with Simpleology, except that there will be later Simpleology courses that talk about what goes on in this book. And I'm not even going to mention the name of the book on this call because I mean it's just not appropriate. But it's important for this point. Okay, I said, wow, Simpleology is what I am tremendously focused on right now. It's what I'm passionate on right now. I can see myself focusing on this for several years. And I told myself, I said, look, I'm going to stick with this business until I can build it up to the point where it needs to be and pass it off to someone else who can run it. Now, I don't think that's going to happen for several years, but that's a commitment I've made to myself. Now, I have these other things going on with these books, okay? So what I've done is I've figured out how to make that serve the ends of growing Simpleology. I said, look, Simpleology is the most important message I think I have ever put out to the world thus far in my life, okay? And it's actually part of a larger, super important message that we'll talk about soon. So how was I going to make this book be a part of that? Well, I figured out a way to make it work with my strategic partners. I asked Wiley to